a wild Wednesday. Going to be busy, that's for sure. So many stories all over the place. The Grizz, they gave it their all last night. USF has already picked their guy. We've got the roundtable, last segment of the show. The college football playoff reveal last night was revealing. I get into that in just a second. And just how good a job is the University of Memphis? Joe Denk on our business section will talk all about that. That comes your way in a bit. Oh, my goodness, look who's in the house. It'll be Dennis time in just a little bit. So the Grizz last night, I am impressed, honestly, with how hard they're playing, with so many guys on the bench, how they are competing. I know they had won 3 in a row and 5 of 6, and we went over the schedule. This time they're playing a legit team, and I know there's 2 key guys that did not play last night that are really good players for San Antonio. But their team is good, and if you look at their record, it's good, and they're on the road. If you had said before this road trip they were gone for 4 games that you'd win 3 of them, you go, I'll take that deal. There's no question about it. They could have won all 4. But fourth quarter, they just couldn't make stops. They got killed with 3-point shots. They were doubled, 9-18. So you lose that 9-3 differential. That's 27 points. That's hard to make that up, even if you're winning the points in the paint. Zach Edey, again, was great. And now he didn't have Wembanyama on him, but he did have a big guy on him that's pretty good. What Cornette, I believe, is his name. He's a tough player. I just am so impressed with Edey, and they beat the you-know-what out of him. And if he retaliates, baby, they're whistling. He got fouled, shoved to the ground, and then kind of held on to the guy, and he got the foul last night. It was kind of a weird sequence. And the other thing is De'Aaron Fox is a star. I mean, he was the best guy on the floor. He scored their last, I think, 11 points. They got him in the fourth quarter. That just couldn't stop him. They couldn't get the stops that they were getting somewhat early on, and those threes were killers. And so the Grizzlies, successful road trip, 3-1. So the college football playoff, I thought, was very revealing last night, okay? So the American is definitely getting a team in. By the way they've placed both Tulane at 20 and North Texas, the winner of that team is definitely going to be in. That team could actually be the 11 seed, not the 12 seed, depending on what happens with Duke and Virginia. And it could be that the ACC doesn't get a team in. That's crazy. Notre Dame is the 10 seed. Do you realize that? Let's say BYU beats Texas Tech. BYU would be in because they're the champion. Texas Tech would get the at-large because they're ranked above Notre Dame. Notre Dame would be out. So you could get no team from the ACC, no Notre Dame. I mean, it's wild. Oh, and the other thing that was very revealing to me, they moved Ole Miss up. They were all worried, man, no coach, and they're gonna slip. And they'll slip beyond where they get a home game. Well, they didn't slip. They went up, which was pretty impressive to me. And I must tip my cap to Ole Miss and to LSU for allowing Charlie Weiss to go and coach. I have no problem with Keith Carter's decision not to let Lane Kiffin coach that team while he's recruiting for LSU, because signing day is here. We've all told about how crazy the calendar is. It needs to be redone. But they have no offensive guy. Come on. And the players deserve a chance. And so Golding, who, by the way, canceled his press conference, his introductory press conference today, because he wanted that to be about the players. So the players are going to have a press conference about where they're going to end up in the playoff. I thought that was an interesting move. But to make a long story short, it's only fair to the players and for the spirit of competition, which is what this is supposed to be about, right? I'm glad they let Charlie Weiss coach. I think that is only the fair thing. And guess what? If Weiss does a heck of a job and they end up winning a game or two, wouldn't you, if you're Pete Golding, wouldn't you figure out a way with all your donors and your Keith Carter to try to outbid LSU and keep him? Although I think he did sign a deal. I don't know how binding that deal is because none of these deals seem to be binding. But he got a 3-year, $6 million deal. So the OC at LSU, and we know Lane's really calling the plays, is making $2 million a year. What a business. What a business. Oh, the L.A. Clippers last night made an incredible decision. You know, it's weird to me. They've lost 14 of their last 16. They basically are on a road trip, and they sent Chris Paul home. They said, we don't want you anymore. So can he be the scapegoat? I mean, the guy's he's played in 16 games, all off the bench, 3 points, 3 1/3 assists. He only plays 14 minutes. Can you blame him for this crazy losing streak? I don't know. Why did they send him up? Was he a cancer? You know, he's their all-time leading assist guy, all-time leading steals guy. As far as I know, you know, he's been an all-star so many times. He's a great player. I remember he came to visit John Calipari, and Calipari introduced him to the team. This is back in the, 2005, something like that. And the guy was, a great player then and a great ambassador. It would be hard for me to believe, he's 40 years old, and he was retiring at the end of the year, that he could be that much of a cancer. I found that to be an incredible, incredible move. Oh, Vandy. They found their replacement. We all go, well, Clark Lee, he's a defensive guy. He got Pavia is lucky. He's also still got Jerry Kill, who, by the way, is a great coach, as his offensive consultant. Well, everybody said, once Pavia's gone, goodbye to the Commodores. Not so fast, my friend. Did you see that they got this kid who's from Nashville? He is a 5-star quarterback named Jared Curtis. He had been a Georgia commit. He flipped to the Commodores yesterday. Wow. Flipped to the Commodores. Oh, and I should mention, big game tonight, Tigers and New Orleans. It's the Tim Duncan Bowl, because he's the guy that was at New Orleans as the AD. He got the deal done to get him here, and they're better than anybody would have imagined. They won at Tulane big. They beat TCU at TCU. Every game they've played is a road game. They got Master P as their business director, their director of ops. He's on the staff. So that should be a fun game tonight. I can't believe the line is 16.5. We'll see. We'll see if Penny can settle on a rotation. Will he make 12 guys play in the first 7.5 minutes, 28 substitutions in the first half? My bet is that'll get cut down. We will see tonight, 7 o'clock at FedEx Forum. I sit in the Family Leisure Studios. It's about to change time zones, but they haven't changed the sale. Isn't that amazing? The hot tub and swim spa clearance sale still going on. I guess it's going to go on through Christmas, where you can get hot tubs starting at under $2,500. In-stock patio furniture is up to 50% off. Special financing is available. And if you mention that we told you all about this, they give you a special gift if you get a hot tub. Usually that special gift is a really valuable gift. So I'd go check it out at I-40 and Whidden Road. All of a sudden, we are changing times.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
I haven't seen you in a while. You look rather chipper.
I'm pretty
Everything
chipper.
going good? You have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was very mellow. We went to we went up to a bonfire at our friend Jeff's sister's house up in Jackson.
Huh.
It was just a good, fun, grown-up time.
Did you have turkey?
Yeah.
Dressing, cranberry sauce? I mean, so traditional with a bonfire. That sounds pretty good.
It was awesome. No, it was a really great time. That Clippers story last night was insane. I mean, this happened at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know.
that it came out.
What do you think he was doing? At 3
I
o'clock in the
can't-
morning to get kicked off the team?
I can't imagine how this happens. I mean, Chris Paul goes back to the Clippers so he can retire as a Clipper.
Right.
He was contributing. He was contributing enough for a guy who's only making $3.5 million a year, which is chump change.
I was thinking about that. Here's a guy. He came to play one last year. He's 40.
Yeah.
It's his 21st season. And, he accepts is the least amount that he could make. He's probably made $300 million in his career. And he's going to accept, a measly $3.5 million. And, $3.5 million. To be a role player, $3.5 million.
Yeah, but he was contributing, and he's a good guy, generally speaking.
Well,
he's
that's
a good
what
guy.
I've always thought. I've never heard of any kind of disruptive force that he could be. I've never heard cancer.
Not in the locker room. I mean, a lot of us really actively disliked him when he was a Clipper the first time around because everybody just disliked that team. Right. And that was they were the kings of the flop, and they were just kind of a dirty team, and nobody liked Chris Paul then. But that part of that was because they were winning. Right. And we just hated that they were winning, and we didn't like him. But something had to have happened. And
I agree. I don't know.
Lawrence Frank, the president of the Clippers, said, "I want to make one thing very clear: no one is blaming Chris for our underperformance." Well, it sure sounds like they are.
Yeah.
They sent him back to L.A. They said essentially, Chris Paul is no longer a part of this team. That was their language. This is just a note that I wrote to myself. To remember to say to talk about this idiot as I seem to almost every single week. My note on Sunday just said Aaron Rodgers is a dumb baby. I'm so Aaron Rodgers poisons everywhere he goes. He's going to get Mike Tomlin fired. Mike Tomlin's had 21 consecutive winning seasons, and he's going to get canned at the end of the year. Now, granted,
you had Ben Roethlisberger, a different quarterback, saying that they should part ways, which shocked the heck out of me. And that was almost as crazy as the Chris Paul story. There's an old saying, familiarity breeds contempt, right?
Yeah.
I remember Tommy West used to say, every year that you're in a job like a head coach at a university in particular, he was going, you're going to make about 30, 40 enemies. Because a guy's going to come up to you and he's got a guy for you to go look at somehow and you kind of blow him off. Or there's always something that's unintended that turns off somebody and you make an enemy of that person. 21 years. Think about it. Mike Tomlin probably has a bunch of enemies.
I mean, they haven't won a playoff game in 8 years.
I know.
And Pittsburgh fans are loyal, but they're not going to be that loyal. And a lot of this is Rodgers. Rodgers' play has been good. But his interaction with the team has been a disaster. He's the guy who's scowling at receivers. He's the guy who's blaming everybody but himself. Nothing is ever his fault.
Right.
Nothing is ever Rodgers' fault. And I'm sick to death of people in the media saying, well, the weird thing about Aaron Rodgers is he's so smart. Says who? What evidence have we ever seen that Aaron Rodgers is smart?
Well,
what?
To recognize defenses, to change plays, to be
that's every quarterback's job.
Offensively as efficient. I think you got to be pretty smart to do.
No,
I don't think you can be.
They're not. You can't be a dumb starting quarterback in the NFL. I agree with that.
I mean,
what they seem to be implying is that he's smart in things other than football.
He's wacky
because he reads philosophy, or he goes on silent retreats, or he refuses to get vaccinated. That's a bright guy,
right?
I also noticed, and I keep noticing this on Sundays, that the Ed Hockley effect, that all of the refs now are so jacked up. Remember when big Ed Hockley?
Oh yeah, of course.
Then his kid is a ref in the NFL, and they're all just insanely jacked up. It's like I think we need to look into what's going on with these refs.
Does the NFL
drug test refs?
The look, is that what they want? I mean,
well, they don't want old fat guys trying to run up and down the field,
which
is what we had for decades and decades before Ed Hockley decided to go into the gym with the players.
Whatever happened to him? He didn't.
He just retired. No, he
didn't have any steroid.
Yeah, the steroids got to him, and he finally lost it. I can't think of the guy's name. But anyway, just notice, and plus with the vertical stripes, they look especially beefed up. The refs. Odell Beckham Jr., I'm sure you saw this, said that it is difficult to get by on $12 million a year. Because after taxes, whatever his deal is, how many years? 50 years?
Taxes
5 years, $50
and
million.
agents and, of course, all those hangers-on.
It's going to really eat that up. It's really hard to get by on $12 million a year. Like Odell Beckham, you just kind of wait. It's like it's just going to come around. Odell's going to say something stupid. Just keep a microphone hot near him, and he's eventually going to say something stupid. The Titans running back Julius Chestnut said that Jaguars punter Logan Clark told him after a dirty play he was going to kill him.
I saw that.
Said he was going to kill Julius Chestnut, which seems, first off, that's big talk for a punter.
I agree. But the other aspect is Julius Chestnut goes, I have no idea why he was so mad.
No, it wasn't that ugly a play. But the thing is, when they asked Logan Clark about it, he said, "Oh, I've said that 100 times." You've threatened to kill opposing players 100 times, so many times that to him it's not a big deal to say, if I get a chance, I'm going to murder you. Well, no, I've said that 100 times. Who hasn't said that? In the heat of an argument, said, I'm going to murder you. We also had 49ers wide receiver Juwan Jennings was jawing so much against the Browns that a Brown punched him right in the fuse box.
Really?
Yep. Right.
I didn't see that one.
Right square in the fuse box. And Browns lineman Shelby Harris said that he could see why Jennings got punched in the nards, and he's surprised it hasn't happened before.
Ooh.
But just got him right in the junction. And I'm sure everybody was talking about this yesterday, but the kicker for the Giants, Young Ho Koo, who missed a kick by driving his foot into the field in front of the football.
Right.
I have never seen that before in my entire life.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. If you look at that in real motion, you don't see that he actually hit the turf. So that
you're saying he pulled up?
No, I'm saying he whiffed. But when
he didn't even manage to hit the ground?
No, he did hit the ground, which threw him off. I don't know if he swayed one way like a golfer might on his backswing, whatever it might be. But if you didn't have slow motion, you'd think he just whiffed the ball. But what he did was he hit the turf before the ball. Yeah, and then that made him stumble and miss everything.
That is exactly what makes me a terrible golfer. I've done that so many times with a golf club.
You have to keep your weight on the, as I like to say, if you were a skier, that's how I think of it. You have to keep your weight on the inside edge so you don't sway. Keep your weight centered.
I'll take your word for it. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he did. He just drove his foot right in the. But it was indicative of the game because the game was not anywhere near as close as the score indicated. The Giants lost by 16, but they lost by a lot more than that.
New England is great. Come on.
New England
they're the best team in the NFL.
They're going to the Super Bowl. It's going to be New England probably in the Rams.
Are you saying Drake May's the MVP then?
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
You're declaring that right now on this day, December the 3rd.
Why do I say anything to you off the air? Because I know it's going to end up on the air every single time. And, of course, Jackson Dart, who has been asked repeatedly by the Giants to please stop running.
Oh, my gosh.
And says, well, that's my game. That's what I'm going to do. That's a problem. When you get a quarterback that's saying, I know this is how I play football. Whether you like it or not, this is how I play football. And he got creamed.
Oh, my gosh, that hit.
Perfectly legal hit.
Absolutely. And he was trying to go up the sideline. So that's what he's going to get. You know what? He's either going to get smarter or he's going to have one very good but short career.
He's going to end up like Tua. He's going to be having a bunch of concussions.
What was it, RG3, remember?
Absolutely.
If he hadn't run as much as he wanted to, he might still be playing.
Well, Christian Ellis, the guy who hit Dart, when they asked him, what message is a hit like that sending? And he said, remember to slide. It's a simple enough message. Either
Don't
slide
run.
or step out of bounds.
Throw the ball.
One of those two. I'm starting to think that guys who do stupid things with their eye black are just problems. J.J. McCarthy for the Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid eye black. And you know why Jackson Dart wears eye black only on one side?
No.
So he can look like Anakin Skywalker. I'm not making that up. So he can look like. And
where did you read that?
I read it in like 4 different places. I wouldn't.
It's true.
Yeah. See, Landon's
That's
backing me up
true?
with this. And the thing is, it's from the prequels. You're not even talking about the real Anakin Skywalker.
No, don't hate on the prequels.
The prequels.
That's what I
stink.
grew up with.
Oh, they're horrible.
I love them.
Big Jar Jar Binks fan, are you?
No, more of a Yoda guy.
Oh, I just think anybody who does stupid stuff with their eye black is a problem.
It just kind of says to me, please look at me. That's what it says.
Please look at me. I'm an idiot. I guess that's what it says. We are day before yesterday was it'll be a year before the Major League Baseball contract agreement ends. There's widespread talk that there's going to be a work stoppage in Major League Baseball this time next year. There will be. They won't miss a game. The same thing happened in 2021. Everybody has learned their lesson from 1994. If baseball goes on strike, they're in a world of hurt because the only way that baseball survived after the strike in 94 is for a bunch of guys to get juiced out of their minds on steroids and start hitting home runs.
We had the home run race. We had Sosa, McGuire, Bonds, and they were all bigger than life, and that did save the game. I think they'll be too smart not to do that. I hope so because baseball is back to being popular.
Yeah, anyway, it's popular in large part because Major League Baseball has decided that their new minor league is Asia.
It's true. That's very good.
The Ottawa Senators ditched their helmets for warm-ups, and the NHL asked them to stop doing that because, playing hockey even in warm-ups without a helmet is stupid, which just proves to us once again that most Senators are stupid.
Oh, when I was growing up, there were only 6 teams in the NHL, and I used to go see the Blackhawks play. It was like an all-star game every night because there were only 6 teams. They didn't wear helmets. The goalies didn't wear masks. Now, that's insane.
No, and look what happened to all those guys.
Yeah. None of them had teeth.
None of them had teeth, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've talked about this a million times, but I can't tell hockey players apart. All hockey players are the same to me. They're all a 6'4" white guy with a beard. They're all the same dude. I can't tell. I can tell everybody apart in every other sport. I can't tell hockey players apart.
They were like Bobby Hull was 5'10".
Yeah, I mean they were tough. They were. It was a completely different sport.
Yeah, I agree.
When there was it was fun.
But here's the one thing they still do unbelievably well: skate. They're magicians on ice. They truly are.
That's true. We still don't know what's going to happen with the hockey arena for the Winter Olympics in Italy. You've heard about this, that the hockey arena is not done, and they're not certain that it's going to be done by the Winter Olympics, and as has been widely reported, they have no plan B.
Freeze a pond. That's all you can do.
What I don't understand is, do the figure skaters skate in a different arena than the hockey players?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they both got eyes. Play there.
Well, they may have to do that, but you got to shift times, and that's all crazy. Is there enough times to do that?
One way or the other.
They'll figure something out, I promise.
They always do.
Yeah.
Right before the Olympics, everybody's always panicked, and they always pull it off.
As always, we appreciate you. That's Dennis on Dave, brought to you by Dinstall's. 'Tis the season, and Dinstall's is the place for all your holiday gifts and goodies. You got clients out of town, send them Dinstall's. They'll love you forever. They'll buy even more. I promise. Cashew Crunch, Turtlettes, those are my top 2 things to send. Cashew Crunch never melts. It's the best darn thing. There's assorted chocolates. There's tree pretzels. Yeah, go check those out. And a whole lot more. You can stop by any of the 5 stores. They make it convenient. Downtown. If you live down there, easy. If you live in the burbs, Collierville or Germantown, got one in both places. If you're in my neck of the woods, Laurelwood, there's a beautiful store there. And where they make all the candy, the biggest place, that is on Pleasant View. Cashew Crunch or Turtlettes, I promise you give that to somebody, they're going to love you forever. Dinstall's makes the holidays always sweeter. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Southern Security. Whether you're a small business owner, maybe you're a single mom, or you're somebody young, you're buying your first home, Southern Security is here to be your trusted financial partner for over 75 years. Southern Security has been serving the Mid-South with unbelievable rates. Service always the newest technology. Wait till you see the new branch in Collierville. We're going to be out there. I will be doing my show from there Monday, December the 15th. This new place is a palace. It's beautiful. Oh, and by the way, Southern Security, it's been voted the best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 years. A 7th one is coming. Find out how you can join the Southern Security family simply by calling and talking to a person at 452-7900 or going to southernsecurity.org. Southern Security is your home team credit union federally insured by NCUA. The business of sports. How good a job is the U of M? Joe Dank weighs in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Come on and let the good times roll, y'all. Or as we say in Louisiana, laissez le bon temps rouler. The Orleans in the Ville with our made-from-scratch red beans, jambalaya, gumbo, po' boys, and made-fresh daily muffaladas. Right here in Collierville. Eat, drink, and stay for dessert like our homemade bread pudding with warm bourbon sauce. Monday through Friday, meat and two with homemade veggies. So good you bring your mom and them. Brunch every Saturday and Sunday. Right here, the Orleans in the Ville, 336 New Byhalia Road. Where great food, live music, and endless fun meet.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Looking for the best prices on shirts, jeans, boots, and more? Frontier Western Store has you covered. At Frontier, you'll always find amazing deals on everything in the store. Unlike online and chain stores that run occasional sales, Frontier keeps prices low every single day, so you get the best deal whenever you shop. Be ready for winter with a full line of outerwear by Ariat and Carhartt. Beanies and coats galore, and then there's Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Come shop new styles by Ariat, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, Frontier is the place. See thousands of boots by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and many more with daily arrivals. And Frontier makes Christmas shopping easy because everyone loves to see a new pair of boots under the tree. For the lowest prices every day, visit Frontier Western Store at 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We get into the business of sports with the former general manager of both Channel 24 and 30, longtime sports TV director and producer. He's the one and only Joe Dank. News today, USF has gotten ahead of the curve, maybe ahead of the University of Memphis. They've found their replacement for Alex Golish. It is the Ohio State offensive coordinator, so they had to shell out some bucks to get Brian Hartine, so they are in place. I think the University of Memphis, their new coach, has to be a guy that is innovative. We know that is good with the media, could be better than Ryan Silverfield was. That was not a great relationship with many members of the press. I also think in this day and age, to help out Ed Scott and Cooper Jones and all those people, he needs to be a guy that can fundraise, that can rub shoulders with the wealthy people, the boosters, and relate to them. And maybe he's got buddies that have money. So I'm going to throw out a name. I'm going to throw out a guy's name who happens to be an offensive coordinator in the National Football League right now. He happens to be a former NFL head coach. He happens to be from Memphis. He happens to have a famous name, Arthur Smith. I wonder if Ed Scott has had a conversation with Arthur Smith, because that would go a long way on a lot of different fronts. I bring in our guy, Joe Dank, and you just saw USF's a pretty good job, right? They're building a brand new facility there. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Practice facility, fields, offices, and a new stadium. I can't remember how many millions they are spending on this, but they've made the commitment, and now they got their coach. How good a job do you think the Memphis job is? Good morning, Joe Dank.
Good morning, David. Look, I think that within the context of the moment, that the Memphis job, perhaps with a lot of similarities to the USF job you just described, is amongst clearly the best in the group of five, soon to be group of six conferences here, and it really revolves around, from my perspective, three major points. I mean, this is all about opportunity. Whoever the new coach is comes in with an absolute outstanding opportunity under the broadest title, let's say, of a restart, a relaunch. And the centerpiece of that is clearly the opening of the stadium, which is scheduled for this fall, which I think is going to be incredible, which is a game changer at so many levels. But the new stadium, I think, is important. The opportunity to do something that the predecessor didn't do, and that's win conference championships. That's going to make the difference. And I think that the result of those two things over this next 3-year period can then position this school at long last, again, for some meaningful consideration in the next round of conference realignment. And that should begin to occur at the conclusion or at the latter portions of this next 3-year period, because that's when some of these media deals are going to be coming up for renegotiation and renewal. So this is a great opportunity for somebody coming in. As you mentioned, the South Florida situation, a lot of those exact same things would be on the table for them. They're building an on-campus facility. And as you say, it looks phenomenal, and I think that will change their program. They, too, have an opportunity now to do something that they haven't done of late, and that's win a conference championship. And, not unlike anyone else, they would be looking for an opportunity. So you have two pretty good situations right there. And but the Memphis one is very good, and I think that somebody said Memphis was very fortunate or even lucky the way things transpired, and maybe that's true. But I think it's also very fortunate and lucky for a guy who got a chance to move up to the next level, and as we've talked about before, make create unbelievable wealth for himself, no matter what happens.
Oh, yeah. 5-year, $35.5 million. If you're Ryan Silverfield, let's say you love Memphis and they loved you in return, which I don't know if that was exactly the case, if we're being totally honest here. I certainly don't hear the same pain that I did when Norvell left, or when Fuente left, or when John Calipari left. Those people, there was an emotional response. I've not seen that, heard that, read that at all in this particular case. But that makes no difference. If you get that offer, $35 million, 5 years, that's you just had two twin girls. You are now set up financially for the rest of your life if you play your cards right, and he will, because he's a really smart guy. So I'm happy for him. I really am. And you know what? If I were Arkansas, I would be pleased that I got him over Alex Golish, because I don't have the same sense of ethics and even competition wise. Alex Golish and Ryan Silverfield, I'll take Ryan any day over him. And apparently Alex had his choice, and he ended up going to Auburn. A question for you. What would you like to see in a new coach? I just said some of the things I'd like to see. What would you think is the most important 2 or 3 things this hire that Ed Scott's going to make has to have?
Well, I think the interesting thing is that there is beginning, if nothing else, to create some levels of clarity now in that, okay, players get paid. There's a transfer portal, and we turn over the rosters. I mean, the things that have been so challenging and so remarkably interesting in the recent years are now becoming part of the norm. So, okay, the playing field is now better defined than it has been. There's less evolution that's going to occur, I think, in the next few years. So you get a guy who is, comfortable with the state of the art. I mean, it's not a guy who goes, boy, I don't understand this. I remember the days when players committed for 4 and 5 years, and we developed them, and we did. That's not the guy you want. You want a guy who understands the present condition in collegiate athletics, and it is as described. The players are going to move around. They're going to get paid, and they're going to be more interested in how much money they're going to make. There are guys out there who seem to dwell in that environment. You got to find that guy, and you got to find a guy who accepts that condition, and then who can deliver a product that appeals to the people who are going to make commitments to buy seats in that brand new tower that's being constructed. People who have the ability to make meaningful contributions to the overall NIL position and collective. And the best way, I think, for somebody to do that is to go win championships. That's always the best. The greatest sports marketing plan in the history of the world is win games.
Win. Yeah, no doubt.
Win. It's never complicated. Just win. So if they find the right guy who gets all of the way the current condition in college football is. We know this because you had just alluded to it a moment ago. This conference is clearly, in a football perspective, the best of the rest.
Well,
and there are
four guys have just been swarmed and brought up. 4 guys: Morris, Silverfield, Golish, and Sumrall, all got life-changing jobs because they were here. I view this honestly, I think Dr. Hargrave hired Ed Scott knowing there was this possibility that was coming up, that you had to make the right decision. I view this optimistically, and I'll tell you why. I think Memphis financially, resources, facilities, they are in a good spot to get a great guy. They're in the best group of 5 league. They're one of the top group of 5 teams in America. And this is a reset. You get a chance now, because there's going to be restructure in a few years when all the TV deals are done, to get yourself in the right place, to win those championships you're talking about. You got to hire the right guy, and that guy is out there. There's no doubt in my mind about it.
I agree with that, and this becomes a defining moment for the athletic director. I mean, these are the moments you want when you take on a management position like that. You don't want to be a caretaker, and you don't want to just keep who was there. You want to make meaningful, big moves. Nothing's bigger than this one. So it'll be a defining moment for the term of this athletic director. And really can be a defining moment in the future of the football program and the athletic department at the university.
All right, let's move very quickly. The National Football League is apparently not very happy with the College Football Playoff Committee for the way they schedule their games, and so they are counter-programming, and that does not, in my mind, spell a good scenario for the NCAA.
That's exactly right. And, we will recall that there was a time where once the college football season ended and there were those December Saturday afternoons, they became NFL windows. And the NFL cautioned the CFP to perhaps play 2 of the games on Friday and 2 of the games on Saturday during that first round of the college football playoff. And that this year is the weekend of December 19th and 20th. The CFP went ahead anyways and only did a Friday night primetime game, scheduled 3 games on Saturday, and the NFL has come back and countered, and they finally announced the kickoff times and the opponents for that day on Saturday, December 20th. And get this, these games will be on Fox broadcast, At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Eagles and Washington play at 4 o'clock, followed in the evening by Green Bay at Chicago in a game that could determine the number one seed in the NFC playoffs. And those two afternoon games on Saturday on the college football playoff, those begin at 2:30 and 6:30, and they're both on TNT. So look for them to get absolutely blown away by the NFL games on over-the-air Fox. Now, the other two playoff games will be on ABC and ESPN, one Friday night in the college football playoff, and then at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning, the other game will be played on ABC and ESPN. So those will be okay. Those will probably do extraordinarily well. But the TNT games are going to get blown away by the Fox games in the NFL.
You got two top 10 markets playing against one another, even though it's not a great game with Washington and Philly. And then you've got what could be for the number one seed in the NFC, the Bears and the Packers. That's just going to kill. I don't understand why the NCAA couldn't get smarter and sort of listen. I wonder, is that the NCAA?
Hey, don't blame the NCAA. No, they have nothing to do with the college football playoff.
All right, is it the CFP or is it the ESPN that made that decision?
Well, it's the CFP scheduled the games, but in consultation with ESPN, I guess. They're in a tough spot. Listen, they don't want to play on Friday afternoon on December 19th. That doesn't make any sense. It's a difficult dilemma, and all of a sudden, that earlier round created 4 games that never existed before. And so, where are you going to play them? And you got to play them somewhere. And now you're moving that calendar up. You'll remember there was, by December 20th, the bowl season is underway, right?
Right.
But you will have noted there was never a college football bowl game played on those Saturday afternoons opposite the NFL.
Right.
During those weeks. They were always played in prime time on weeknights, and they would be played in between Christmas and New Year's. So, in the daytime. So, the NFL wanted to protect its turf. They brought out big guns because they put it on broadcast. Also, those were oftentimes those Saturday afternoon games were on, and Saturday evening were on NFL Network. But now it's back on Broadcast Network for Fox. This will be 11 doubleheaders on Fox this year. That's the most of any of the broadcast networks carrying the NFL.
That is our man on the business of sports. That is Joe Dank. Remind me, we got next week talk a little bit about the TNT ESPN joint venture, Charles Barkley, Dick Vitale. That's going to be fun. We'll get into that a little bit next week. Thank you, Joe. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you, David.
That's our man, Joe Dank, on the business of sports. We take a break, the roundtable, with Corey Glore and with Bruce Howard from Tulane and Tulsa, respectively. They come your way in a minute.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
This holiday season is short. Make every moment magical with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you'll take all your festive looks to the next level and find gifts to wow every one of your family and friends. Discover our unmatched quality, brilliant natural diamonds, and spectacular service when you shop in store or online at sissyslogcabin.com. Make this the most wonderful time of the year with a trip to Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
From first call to final invoice, Wex Field Service Management helps contractors grow their trade businesses. Whether you're at the job site or back at the office, you'll have a partner that understands your needs. Imagine techs effortlessly dispatched, your customer proposals drafted and signed, and payments transactions happening instantly, all within one simple solution. Now every day can be your best day. Book a demo today at wexfsm.com.
Since 1948, in the Alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar based. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to baste or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
To NST, it's never just another case. It's your shot at getting life back on track. Real help, real heart. 35 years and still winning. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go online at nstlaw.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Gabe Woloshin.
A lot of news with the roundtable, that is for sure. Looks like USF's got their guy. 5 openings there were, at least at one point in the American. The four best coaches, I would have to think, at least on paper, all gone. Corey Glore, for the second time in a couple of years, you're in the championship game with a lame duck coach. Wow, it's kind of crazy. First off, what do you think, and I'll ask both of you guys this, USF acts quickly. I have no idea what they're offering this guy, but they just got the Ohio State offensive coordinator, Brian Hartine, to become their new coach. Pretty quick acting there. Your thoughts? We start with Corey.
Good morning, fellas. I think that's not a bad get at all for South Florida. The fact that they just committed full rev share for the football program, becomes the first in the American to do that, that made that gig, I think, pretty appealing for a lot of upper-tier coordinators. Now, I know John Gruden's name was really flying around that job because he's based in Tampa now, but I think that's a good get, a swift get. Because, again, today's signing day, and so finding a way to move fast here for all these job openings, I think you're experiencing that, Dave. We're experiencing that here. So the fact that South Florida zeroed in that fast, I'm not surprised at all, and I think that's a pretty good hire.
I do point out, you're right about signing day. Memphis already lost a 3-star guy to, guess where, Arkansas. So I guess that is not surprising. By the way, what is the full revenue share for football? I know full revenue share total for the entire athletic department is $21 million. Is there a guideline, or can they spend all $21 million on football?
I think they have the choice as to how they want to spend it. I know Alex Golesh was able to work full rev share into some negotiations. Now he's gone, so I don't know. Maybe that will be retracted. I don't know how South Florida will move forward with that, but I think it's 20 for football. And so, like, there's ways to get kind of everything set for your football program if you decide to go that route. And so we'll see what South Florida does moving forward.
Bruce Howard, your take. 2 coaches are going to be coaching in the championship game, Eric Morris and John Sumrall, who will not be at those schools after that game probably.
Boy, you just wonder where's their attention at, and how does that work? Tulsa, a long time ago, had a coach by the name of F.A. Dry, who announced he was going to TCU before a bowl game. And this was way back in the 70s, and it was like stunning, that he had announced he was leaving, and then he coached, and then they lost to McNeese State in the Independence Bowl. I mean, it just has to have some sort of effect, you have to believe. And, your attention's got to be divided. I know coaches are really, really good and disciplined and animated, and they probably don't sleep more than 2 hours a day. I get that, but boy, how do you approach the game and feel like you're doing a good job? Now, you have great assistants. How many of those assistants are going? There are just so many little factors that can go on, and I think it just depends on each individual case. But it's got to be a little split and divided attention.
You just talked to John Summerall. I know it did not work well for you in a championship game a couple of years ago when your coach was on his way out the door. What's the sense you get this time around, Corey?
Yeah, it was literally just in his office about 5 minutes ago. So he is still here and present and physically will be here this week. With the difference I feel right now from 2023 when Willie Fritz left for Houston was that, and we talked about this a little bit last week on the roundtable because that was when Eric Morris's news came out. And I had gotten a sense just feeling around here at the time that something like that was coming down the pike over the next few days here in New Orleans. And so I think the fact that these two coaches got in front of this, they kind of had to just with signing day stuff, but they're being allowed to coach the championship game. I do think that allows them a little bit more of an opportunity to zero in on the task at hand. Now, both John and Eric have had to do things for their new jobs, but they, I think just getting in front of it could be helpful here for both of these teams, whereas the last time this happened 2 years ago, Willie Fritz was kind of trying to keep it quiet and block out everything, even though everyone knew that the Houston job was probably going to be his. And so it created a lot of distraction and weirdness as that week went along. It hasn't been as unsettled around here this week as it was a couple years ago. And so it won't be a normal feeling game on Friday with everything that's on the line Friday night, with the winner going to a college football playoff. The loser really begins the full rebuild really on Saturday. There's a lot more on the line than usual for this game. I think both coaches and both universities have attacked this early enough where it could feel slightly more regular than maybe where Tulane was 2 years ago.
Ole Miss said no. Lane Kiffin couldn't coach in the playoff because your signing day and everything else that's going on. What will Tulane do if John Summerall's team, if the Green Wave beat North Texas, in what should be a pretty good game on Friday, what will the policy be about John coaching in a playoff game?
He will coach the playoff game if Tulane wins. That, I believe, is also the same setup for North Texas from everything I had read and people I've talked to there. Whoever loses this game and goes to a bowl game, those coaches are going to be gone. And so that will create just a kind of a lazy, weird bowl game scenario for whoever loses here. The difference, two major differences, obviously, with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin was that he burned plenty of bridges on his way out, and John and Eric are not leaving for in-conference rivals. And so that's allowed these two schools to be good with this setup moving forward, and you're seeing that with James Madison as well when he goes to UCLA, and they have a shot at the playoff now. And so that's the major two differences here. But, yeah, whoever wins this game Friday has already committed to coaching the playoff.
You think, let's say, Metzmaker, if they lose, will play in a bowl game for North Texas? I ask you this, Bruce. Because I want to touch on this. I mean, it's very clear to me the college football calendar has to change. You can't have – it's got to be like the NFL. You can't talk to a coach about moving until after the season, and you probably got to move this signing day because it does not work at all with the way the schedule goes right now. Do you think if Tulane beats North Texas that Drew Metzmaker – the North Texas quarterback will play in a bowl game for North Texas? Bruce?
Well, I've done a couple of games. I've done a bowl game or two, where everybody had their roster truncated by all of these guys not playing. I think it depends on the kid. Drew is kind of a different character in terms of his history and that kind of thing. So maybe he's got some loyalty to North Texas. I think it's each individual case, and you guys, touched on this a little bit. I think it's interesting how the various administrations react in different ways, and it's kind of fascinating to follow a little bit. You remember this, Bill Frieder? Remember he left Michigan as a basketball coach before the NCAA tournament, and Bo Schembechler said, "I want a Michigan guy. You will not," and he said, "I want to coach the NCAA tournament. I'm going to Arizona State, but I want to coach in the NCAA tournament." Bo Schembechler said, Beckler said, "I want a Michigan guy." Steve Fisher takes him to the championship. Right. So, I mean, I just think it depends on kind of who's involved administratively and what are those relationships like? And Corey kind of touched on that, but I hard for me to get in the head of Drew, the quarterback. I just think it just depends on the situation, I guess. It's crazy.
The whole aspect, too, is contrary to competitive spirit. I mean, I'm glad Ole Miss, I said this earlier, I'm glad they let Charlie Weiss, the OC, be the offensive guy for Ole Miss in a playoff game, because otherwise that's really not fair to the kids, and it's not fair to the sport. North Texas is not going to be the same if that quarterback doesn't play. There's no question about that, and there's no doubt in my mind he is going to be going with Eric Morris to Oklahoma State when this is all said and done. It is a crazy world. And I think, truthfully, it's okay for kids to go with their coach, because I don't think you sign with a school anymore. Corey, your thoughts on this? Doesn't a kid sign with a coach?
Oh, 100%. You talked about how Memphis already lost a 3-star to Arkansas. Well, Tulane Sunday had a 4-star flip to Florida. And so, as soon as that news came out. So, yeah, that's definitely part of the equation. And with what, again, I can speak certainly more educated on what's happening here at Tulane, but what Eric Morris did to make Drew Mestemaker the conference player of the year, it would not. Why would anyone be surprised if he goes to Oklahoma State with the coach? I mean, no. That's almost like, of course he should do that with what has happened to him, and what he's become. This is an obvious thing for him to do, and so yeah. It's rare now. You'll get the local kids, there's South Louisiana boys who want to play here at Tulane, just like there's West Tennessee boys and Northeast Oklahoma boys who want to play for your guys' teams. But that number is dropping. And so, yeah, people get sold on the coach and their vision.
No doubt. Bruce, Corey, thank you guys. We'll talk championship game next week, and I guess new coaches, because I would suspect most of the new coaches will be in place by then. But who knows in this crazy world? Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
All right,
thank you,
all
boys.
right, guys. Happy signing day.
Yeah, happy signing day, for sure. That's Corey Glore from Tulane and Bruce Howard from Tulsa. They are brought to you by Shell Done. We're in the holiday season. Everybody's shifting into eating and maybe hunting, all kinds of fallsy kind of things and wintry kind of things. You're not thinking houses, but you better start thinking about it, and you better start thinking about my guy, Sheldon Rosengarten, because he's sold homes on Christmas Eve. He sold them on New Year's Day. The real estate market does not shut down for the holidays. And with the inventory being lower at this very moment, with interest rates being stable, it might be the best time to sell. If you wait until spring, azaleas bloom, but so do the real estate signs. There's a lot more competition. So if you're thinking of selling a home or buying one, remember, this is what Sheldon has said for years. Talk to 2 or 3 real estate agents. Make sure he's one of them, because he's got a strategic marketing program that is second to none. It involves the 3 Ps, and he just works 365, 24/7. That's the kind of guy he is. When you want the job done, you call Sheldon. 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. That's 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. That'll do it for us. Coming into the studio, relocating from where he is, that will be Johnny Harden. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody.